If you had to pick one thing that France is most famous for, chances are you might say the food.
Well, we're known for eating frogs' legs and snails, but it goes beyond the cliché. In France, gastronomy is an art form.
It's a real way of life. But why does French food have such a great reputation? And how have French eating habits changed over the years?
Join us for this episode of French Connections Plus, where we take a bite out of French food culture. When you think about eating in France, so many delicious things pop to mind. There's the bread, the cheese, the pastries, the regional dishes. It's overwhelming how many delicious things there are to taste.
In France, food isn't just fuel. It's a cherished pleasure that's experienced in a deep-seated ritual, the meal.
And for decades, alarmists have been predicting the demise of France's multi-course gastronomic meal. But not only has it survived, it was put on UNESCO's Intangible World Heritage List in 2010.
Mealtime is sacred here in France, so people tend not to eat on the fly in their cars or at their desk. That would be sacrilège. They sit down and they take their time.
And they take a lot of time. French people, on average, take 2 hours and 13 minutes a day to eat and drink. That's a record ahead of Italy and Spain, and twice the amount of time that Americans spend eating and drinking. I know in my family, Sunday lunch can last 5 hours, which is great, unless you have a hangover.
That's because in France, food is all about sharing. In fact, 80% of meals are taken with someone else. It's a daily ritual that you observe regardless of work obligations, homework, or just about anything else. But there is one French tradition you have to know about before any meal, and that is the aperitif.
L'aperitif, or l'apéro as it's commonly called, is a pre-meal drink, usually before dinner, so around 6:30 or 7 p.m. People get together to unwind, and what do they drink? Well, not necessarily alcohol, though it often involves wine, beer, spirits, or even cocktails.
It's a real institution here and a pillar of French culture.
And it might be saying something about me, but it's one of my favorite traditions. But I'm not the only one. The French author Paul Morand famously said that the aperitif is like an evening prayer in France.
Now, aperitif, the word, comes from the Latin aperire, which means to open. You're opening your appetite for the meal.
And like many things French, it often involves food. It's often something simple, like nuts, chips, olives, saucisson, of course, crackers, hummus, vegetables if you're being healthy. The apéro food business is buzzing. There's even an apéro aisle in supermarkets and special industrialized apéro cheese.
Sometimes the ritual can turn into a dinner itself, what we call an apéro dînatoire.
À table! But apéro or not, mealtime or le repas here in France is sacred.
It's like a fine-tuned ballet. There are strict codes to French meals in terms of pacing and content.
It's a format that's set in stone. Step 1 is the starter, or entree as it's called here in France, followed by the main course, and then cheese, because this is France, and then the grand finale, dessert, and coffee.
And if you really want to do things the French way, you can always finish up with a little piece of chocolate and an after-dinner drink, a digestive.
Vive la gastronomie!
Many countries are famous for the diversity of their cuisine, but French gastronomy has a special place of admiration around the world. And many of you sent in your questions, like Paul Crosby, who asked, how is it that French cooking is the standard in culinary schools around the world?
Well, part of France's gastronomic prestige comes from the fact that French chefs were among the first to organize kitchens and document their creations. And that means that French recipes became a standard for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world.
For generations, French restaurants were the absolute best in the world. But over the past few years, France's culinary authority has started to wane, putting an end to a 300-year reign.
So what happened, Jeannie? Well, essentially, tastes have started to change. People crave simpler and lighter meals, not heavy, butter-based, saucy dishes that are a little pretentious and take hours to digest.
They certainly do. French cuisine today has given way to food from Asia, Latin America, Italy, many countries.
But France's culinary expertise is still world famous, and there are some classic dishes that everyone should learn how to make.
To unlock the secret of French recipes, I've come to a world-famous cooking institute, Le Cordon Bleu.
Today we're going to explore a pillar of French cuisine, le dessert. And Chef Fabrice Daniel here is going to show me the ropes. Bonjour, Chef.
Bonjour.
What's on the menu?
On the menu today, I will show you how to make some Paris-Brest in chocolate.
Well, let's get going.
Let's go. We will start first by the chocolate choux pastry.
Okay.
We need to combine the water, the milk, the butter, and the salt and the sugar.
Oops, I'm making a mess.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. Oops.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
I'm making.
We will clean a little, huh? And at this moment, we will add the dry ingredients. And we need to mix very fast.
Okay.
At this moment, we will add eggs, little by little.
Okay.
Oups, oui, c'est
Bah
ça.
oui, c'est ça. So what's the history of the Paris-Brest?
The history of the Paris-Brest is a bicycle race from Paris to Brest, okay? And the shape of the Paris-Brest should be round at the wheel.
Oh, so it looks like a bicycle wheel.
Completely. Normally the Paris-Brest will be with nuts.
Okay.
Okay, and now with chocolate, I think it will be more yummy. Alors we take this one, good consistency. Voilà.
Okay.
So now, the choux pastry dough is completely done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the second step, okay, we need to pipe.
Okay.
On
Make the wheel.
Yes, completely. And we will turn, and we will follow the line.
I feel like this is going to be complicated.
You need to be relaxed.
Okay.
No stress, no panic.
Oh God, it's not really a round wheel, is it?
It's okay.
It would be a bumpy ride.
And now we will add, and again inside. This is the shape, okay, for the Paris-Brest.
Okay.
It looks nice, huh?
So next step is straight to the oven.
Straight to the oven, 160, okay, for at least 30 minutes. So, we will close. Okay, now we have time to prepare the second recipe, crispy feuilletine. The composition of milk chocolate,
Yeah.
praliné, hazelnut praliné, and the feuilletine.
Okay.
Milk chocolate, praliné, hein? The last recipes will be the chocolate chantilly cream, the milk chocolate, the whipped cream, and when it's cold, room temperature, we will leave in the fridge for at least 6 hours.
Okay.
We will whip.
Yeah, whip it, yeah.
Very good. Texture.
Oh yeah,
Voilà.
wow, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Very nice. I think it will be ready in the oven. Very nice job. Yours?
Looks good.
Elles sont bons. The next step, we need to cut and to remove the top.
Okay.
This one is very nice, huh? Nice shape, very round.
I'm proud of myself, what can I say?
The bottom,
The middle.
the middle, and the top.
Okay.
So we will take the feuilletine, okay, and we will add all on the bottom. Now we need to add on top only the chantilly cream.
Okay.
We will push the cream, okay, regularly all around. And now we need to do the same way in the inside. And we will take this one. So you can do yours.
Okay.
Your decoration should be on the bottom. Huh?
Yeah.
Very good. And now
On the inside.
inside.
All right, one more.
Perfect, huh? What do you think?
Can I say it? Voila.
Voilà.
Voila.
Bon appétit. Good,
Bon appétit.
Good job.
I had a good teacher. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. C'est bon.
France is famous for its meat, cheese, baguettes, but little by little, more and more French people are changing the way they eat.
Well, they're increasingly going organic and cutting back on things like meat and cheese and bread and wine. For instance, in the 1960s, French people drank the equivalent of 26 liters of pure alcohol a year. These days, they drink less than half of that, and yet they're still considered some of the heaviest drinkers in Europe.
When it comes to special diets, things in France are slowly starting to change. Vegetarians, for example, make up 5% of the French population, and yet now just about every French restaurant has a veggie option on the menu.
Now, France is credited with having some of the best eating habits in the world. The reputation goes that French people don't snack between meals, they don't take second helpings, they avoid processed food, and they eat smaller portions. It's all about The quality, not the quantity.
And yet, French eating habits are also starting to change for the worse. More and more French people are digging into junk food, what they call la malbouffe.
Remember the bestseller about how French women don't get fat? Well, it turns out they increasingly do, and men more than women. According to recent studies, half of adults in France are overweight, and 1 in 6 is obese. Hardest hit are people earning low incomes in rural areas. The government is very much aware of the problem. Back in 2001, it launched a national nutrition and health program. With a catchy website and ad campaigns, the idea is to raise awareness and encourage people to eat 5 fruits or vegetables a day. But a lot of work remains to be done to halt the invasion of junk food, la malbouffe. Grazing is on the rise, particularly among young people, and France is a huge market for fast food chains. In fact, recently, burger sales exceeded those of the jambon beurre, the ham and butter baguette sandwich, a long-time cherished staple of the French diet.
France's obsession with food goes well beyond sophisticated recipes. It's infused every part of French culture, including the local lingo.
There are so many expressions about food in France, it's enough to make you hungry.
All right, Jeannie, let me test you on a couple of these. What does it mean when you tell someone, occupe-toi de tes oignons?
Take care of your onions means mind your own business?
Correct, Jeannie. Next, what about mets de l'eau dans ton vin?
Put water in your wine. That means to like mellow out, chill out?
It absolutely does. You're really good at this, Jeannie.
Thank you.
And what about when la moutarde me monte au nez?
The mustard goes up my nose. That means you've got to sneeze.
No, it doesn't mean you've got to sneeze. It means that you're getting annoyed. And the final one is en faire tout un fromage.
To make a big cheese? I know what cut the cheese means. I don't know what that one means.
No, it means to make a big deal out of something. Now, if you want to be truly French, you need to talk about delicious things while eating delicious things. That's about the Frenchest thing you can do.
The French do love to talk about French food. The proof, our show. Flo, thank you for that. That wraps it up for this French Connections Plus. Don't forget, if you have questions about France or the French, you can leave them on our Facebook page or send a tweet at Flo Villeminot.
And we'll see you next time for French Connections Plus.
Bon appétit!